This is an audio only episode. God has given each of us gifts, gifts that can be used for good and His glory, or ill and leading others away from Him. Our current saint saw his gifts and was given a stark choice as to which way he wanted to use them. He chose the right path and accomplished incredible things as a result. And because of this, he really is a saint who should be better known. Although from a family of Bolognese aristocrats, Pietro Geremia was born at Palermo, Sicily in 1399. At first, he wanted to be a lawyer. Certainly his dad wanted him to be one. But in 1422, at age 23, just before graduating from law school in Bologna, he had a complete conversion of heart and longing for God. And so he decided to enter the Dominicans, despite his father's opposition. Now, the Dominicans are a religious order founded by St. Dominic in the 13th century. What happened was this. One night, as he lay in his bed in his third floor room, he was daydreaming about all the great things his life would bring after he had earned his shingle. At that moment, though, someone repeatedly knocked at his window. Remember, it was on the third floor. There was no ledge, no way for anyone to stand outside and rap on the pane. Frightened, he called out, "Who's there?" A hollow voice responded he was a relative who had just died, a successful lawyer who had wanted human praise so badly that he had lied, that is, borne false witness, to win it, and now was eternally lost because of his pride. As another source puts it, this man who had defended so many causes in his life now had no one to defend his cause before the divine tribunal. As Mary Jean Dorsey writes in her book on Dominican saints, Peter was terrified and acted at once upon the suggestion to turn, while there was still time, from the vanity of public acclaim. He went the next day to a locksmith and bought an iron chain, which he riveted tightly about him. He began praying seriously to know his vocation. Soon thereafter, God made known to him that he should enter the Dominican order. It is said his father traveled to Bologna to retrieve his son, screaming at and demanding of the prior that he fetch the young man. He was prepared to vent his fury on the boy for having ruined his dreams for him and choosing to waste his life in this fashion when he saw Pietro walking down the hall, a smile brightening his face. The father immediately recognized his son had found happiness, and his heart softened. He thus gave his child his blessing. After receiving ordination in 1424, Pietro became an itinerant preacher. The Dominicans are officially known as the Order of Preachers. His preaching became so well known, he always had to preach in a field or in a town's piazza, that is, its town square, because, quote, there was no church large enough to hold the crowds that flocked to hear him. In 1433, his superiors made him prior of the convent of Santa Cita in Palermo, Sicily, his hometown. One day, his monks informed him there was no food, so he went to the water and asked some fishermen to donate some of their catch that they were just then hauling in. They rudely dismissed his request. So he got in a boat, put out a short distance away, and called for the netted fish to come to him. The fish strained and broke through the net and did as he had commanded. The frightened fishermen saw their sin and asked forgiveness. Pietro then gave a sign to the fish, who swam back into the nets. From that day on, the monastery had fresh fish to eat. At another time, the source tells us, when Peter was preaching at Catania in Sicily, Mount Etna erupted, and torrents of flame and lava flowed down on the city. The people cast themselves at his feet, begging him to save them. After preaching a brief and pointed sermon on repentance, Peter went into the nearby shrine of St. Agatha, removed the veil of the eponymous saint, which was there honored as a relic, and held it towards the approaching tide of destruction. The eruption ceased and the town was saved. This and countless other miracles he performed caused him to be revered as a saint. He raised the dead to life, healed the crippled and the blind, and brought obstinate sinners to the feet of God. In addition to his miracles, Pope Eugene IV, who reigned from 1431 through 1447, had a great appreciation for Pietro's interpersonal skills. And during the Council of Florence, which lasted from 1431 through 1445, and which briefly reconciled the Orthodox and Catholic churches, the pontiff relied on Pietro to help mediate between the two sides. Pietro founded the University of Catania, which is today the 29th oldest university in the world, with a student population of some 60,000. Pietro also helped establish several Dominican monasteries. He died at Santa Città in 1452. As the Dominicans put it, Pietro's life teaches us that, quote, God has a mission for each of us and has given us the gifts to successfully complete the purpose for which he created us. Our job is to discern our role in his creation. The gifts he has given us can be the instrument of our damnation when used against his purposes. When we discern correctly through prayer and spiritual direction, these same talents and abilities can sanctify us and those around us. It's not too late to seek God's will for your life. In fact, we should attempt to understand his will for our every action each day using all the gifts he has given to each of us. Thanks for watching and listening. If you like what you've heard, please give us a thumbs up. Please subscribe, like, and share. It costs you nothing, but means the world to us. And please consider joining us on Patreon. In the meantime, we'll see you next time on That Catholic Saints Guy.